Tech Cocktail Sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank
so we're
you.
gonna kick things off with a little bit of laughter, hopefully, at least. Seeing as we're from the South, so go Dallas, by the way. And you know the jokes. You know you're a redneck when. Well, since a lot of us are entrepreneurs, we thought we'd ask the question. You know you're an entrepreneur when. So first, you know you're an entrepreneur when.
You limit your fluid intake so that you don't have to get up from your desk.
Efficiency. Number two, you know you're an entrepreneur when.
Your grandmother has come to memorize your elevator pitch.
So we call activating your network, right?
Yeah.
And number three.
Well, you're the only one in the company that hates payday.
Watching that burn rate. Yes, watching the burn rate. So again, my name is Corey Egan.
And I'm Lorena Egan.
Just to give you a brief overview on our company, we're iLumi, as Frank mentioned, and we make these beautiful and intelligent LED lights. Screw in like any other light bulb, but you can control them through a mobile app to do some really amazing things. So you can change the lighting to different variations of color to create atmosphere. They're also extremely energy efficient, so they pay for themselves. And they give you this full lighting control system that's just as easy as screwing in a light bulb, which I think most of us in the room should be able to do. But today, you know, we're actually going to talk a little bit more about entrepreneurship and our journey. And I think there's this really great metaphor that I like to use when thinking about entrepreneurship is like a ship, like sailing a ship, and not, you know, a modern day vessel, but an old-timey kind of pirate ship. You know, you've got your crazy captain and crew. There's a lot of long hours normally involved, a lot of drinking perhaps. And you're all kind of going towards this grand vision of maybe finding some buried treasure over the horizon, but you're, you know, swayed by the storms and wind and the like and can get off track. I think in the same metaphor, you also have the North Star, which is a great navigational tool. It's the only star in the sky that doesn't move. And for sailors, as well as for entrepreneurs, I think it's important to find something that you can kind of grab onto that gives you that consistency and can help you find your direction. So in addition to being kind of my partner at iLumi, I was able to somehow convince this lovely lady to be my wife. So what we thought we'd do, I think it deserves applause. I know, it was hard for me to do. Yes, it was a difficult challenge. So what we thought we'd do is share kind of our entrepreneurial experience and maybe Lorena and Corey's top 5 things that we do that provides consistency and direction throughout our entrepreneurial journey.
So before you start taking notes, I want to say we're not Dr. Phil, we're not marriage counselor, this is just our experience as a startup. So The first thing that we learned through this journey is just to prepare and to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So when Corey first came up to me and said, oh, hey honey, by the way, I think I really want to pursue iLumi full time and quit my day job. I was still a graduate student at the time. So my initial reaction was, okay, what about our bills, finances? How's this going to work? So needless to say, I freaked out just a little bit. But we, you know, talked it over, planned, and prepared for it, for the journey. And it made the decision a lot easier after that.
I think it was about having that conversation up front, whether it's your wife or friends or family, just kind of letting them know what you're about to go through, because they're probably not going to see you for years on end, probably. And for us as well, kind of understanding the sacrifice we were going to have to make. So one of those, we had this beautiful downtown apartment in Dallas and decided to make the move up north to the suburbs to save on our personal burn rate. Although we do have kind of a nice place, I'd say. It's fully furnished. It comes with laundry service and some personal chefs and cable and Lorena's wonderful parents as well because it's their house. So just those personal sacrifices that you have to make. So the second thing in terms of Corey and Lorena's top 5 things that we do to keep consistency and direction within our entrepreneurial journey is finding time, like really having to find and allocate time for each other.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, great. So we're going to work together. I'm going to be spending all day and night with Corey. Yay. And, you know, little did I know that.
So enthusiastic,
no, it wasn't
right?
yay. But little did I know that when you have a startup, a lot of your time is, you know, it's work. So you don't get that quality time. So very soon I found myself having to hack into his calendar and put my name on a list. Tonight is date night, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to schedule it because other priorities will take place if not. And I think also from my perspective, I began to realize that when we did have those few opportunities, when we could be together with Lorena or with friends or family, that I had to separate myself from work a bit, because if I was thinking about work, I wasn't really being productive thinking about work, and I wasn't really being productive just enjoying that time that we had. And we're not talking about luxurious dinners and steak dinners and like. It can be something simple. For us, it's putting a movie on Netflix and doing a little cuddling. And I'll admit it, right? Come on. I think I need to start a cuddle movement with guys. I feel like there's a bad rap for cuddlers out there. So anyway, the third thing that Corey and Lorena do in terms of finding direction and consistency within our entrepreneurial journey is being humble and putting yourself out there and asking for help. As an entrepreneur, you're going to need help, especially early on from your closest supporters. They're the ones who are going to give you your first financing from friends and family rounds. They're the ones that are going to hopefully introduce you to your first customers or be your first customers. And even, just on a personal level, I have to ask Lorena, hey, we're going to Vegas in 2 days. I've scheduled, can you pick up the dry cleaning? Or to the community, hey, Vegas Tech Fund, how about inviting iLumi to come join the community? Just being able to put yourself out there and ask the question, I think you have to get more comfortable with.
So asking for help is one thing, but then also being able to give back and remember, whether it's helping out the grandmother who memorized the pitch or, bringing flowers for your wife every once in a while. So just knowing how to give back.
I've got some beautiful flowers here for you, by the way.
Thank you. And the fourth one on our list is just being active and inserting yourself out there all the time. For me, it was not only just being able to support him in the little ways and encourage him, but for all of you that have startup companies or know somebody with a startup, you know that there is a lot to be done. So you need all hands on deck. And so that was one of the things, just getting involved.
And the fifth thing, final thing, that we've done to give us consistency and direction within our entrepreneurial journey is when kind of the going gets tough, that's when you need your support network the most. And you really need to relish those moments. So thinking back last year in particular, there was a moment where our first competitor surfaced, right? We'd been working on this for years and saw something similar. And there was definitely like an oh shit moment, kind of so to speak, where you're like, oh, what are we gonna do? And you freak out a bit, and it can be very emotional. And it's very, very helpful to have someone that you can go to just to kind of talk, just to vent. I call Lorena kind of my personal confessional because, just to kind of get some ideas out there and maybe shield some of your team or investors from some of those ebbs and flows that you go through on a daily basis. And I think in an extension of that, one of the things I really love about the Boulder community, I know we were talking about Techstars earlier, is that when a startup does fail, when you get to that level where it goes over, that they celebrate it. They celebrate the journey that startup went through. And I think it's really about the journey and not necessarily the destination oftentimes, and you can rejoice in that. You can take something from that. So those are our top 5 things. Hopefully you found that enlightening, entertaining. I don't know, you probably know us a lot better after that conversation. And I think the takeaway here is that for anyone considering an entrepreneurial journey or anything similar to that, you really need to find your North Star, so to speak, and appreciate it, cherish it, and understand it so that it can give you that constance and that direction as you go through those tough times. So that's it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
All right. So now's the opportunity. You guys get to ask some questions. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A. So I forgot to tell you that. So it's kind of a sneak attack with the Q&A. But I know somebody's got to have a question. All right, right in the front.
We can talk about cuddling if you guys want to as well. It's open for conversation.
Hi, thank you for sharing your story, first off.
Sure.
How did you come up with the idea?
A light bulb just kind of like went on in my head. It's too easy. There's so many of those too. So I was pursuing my MBA in Dallas at the University of Texas at Dallas, and my co-founder, who's not here, huge engineering guy, had worked in embedded systems, was looking into wireless. My background, my family's been in the high-end home business for a number of years, saw what was happening with LEDs. It was really, we just kind of put these two concepts together, LED lighting and mobility, and you have a wirelessly controlled light bulb. We actually submitted it into a business idea competition at UTD, which we won. And we were students at the time as well, and the prize was like $5,000, which was very tempting to put back into buying ramen noodles and the like. But we put it back in the company and just kept going and competed at some other competitions and just kept building this momentum. and kept seeing the opportunity was there, and it just kind of has grown to, I guess, where we are today.
Where are you today?
So, good question. Still sailing the ship, definitely. So the question was, where are we today, if anyone didn't ask? So yeah, we're a few months away from finalizing and shipping products. So we have two sizes of iLumi. This one is a 75 watt replacement that works like a normal incandescent light, and we have a 100 watt replacement that is made for more overhead kind of can lighting.
So next question. In the meantime, tell them your domain, because I know they can go watch the video, which is pretty amazing.
Yes, thank you, Frank.
Yes.
It's iLumiSolutions.com, so it's ILUMI solutions.com, and you can check out the video. We actually have some pre-sales going on right now, so you can reserve your spot to have some of our first product when they ship in September, and would love to hear what you think as well.
All right, who had a question? Over here.
One more question.
What's the price of it, and where is it going to be available?
The price, the two sizes, the small is, if you're considering an individual, is 88, and the large is 98, and if you get more than one or so, there's some different price breaks therein. Right now, we're doing online distribution at iLumiSolutions.com, and then have plans to kind of grow from there.
Okay, question in the back here. Oh, 1 second.
What's the difference what you sell versus I think the Philip is also making the same product? So
Yeah, great question. So I think the key to us and our philosophy is, one, to keep it really, really simple, right? So the user experience.
That might have been me.
Okay.
I think I just blew a fuse. Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay. So keeping the user experience really simple and intuitive, the setup process, so Philips Hue has a base station that you have to plug into a physical Wi-Fi network. Everything for us is built inside the bulb, so it's literally screwing in the light, downloading the app, and you can have a whole room or building of iLumis. And then two is making sure that it's flexible to give you those wonderful colors that provide atmosphere, but also functional, so it's a lot brighter and more efficient because of the technology we developed. And then I think three is just that user experience, just making these really compelling lighting experiences that both consumers and folks in hospitality can enjoy.
I think there's one.
I had seen an article about the ring that you gave her, and that it had lights on it too. Is that a fact? Was that really true?
That wasn't my ring. I just thought it was really cool. Lorena's
I said
ring
I
does
wanted
not
it,
light
so.
up. Unfortunately.
doesn't,
Thanks for
yeah.
putting me on the spot and making me feel
The
bad.
next one.
Okay, how much time? We got about 2 more questions? Okay. One here and then back over here.
Yeah,
So,
in the back.
I'm going to pass the mic down here.
What's the, I know compact fluorescent bulbs are a big issue because of the recyclability issue. What about your bulb or just LEDs in general with recyclability?
It's a great question. There's also some interesting thing with CFLs Lorena could talk to and kind of health-related effects. They're just not good. It's just a really bad technology that should never really have come to fruition, I think. LEDs in our technology, I mean, these last up to 20 years, so just in general, the life of an LED is it's going to be more environmentally friendly just because you're not using as many. But also think of it just like more of an electronic. So it's RoHS compliant, all that kind of good stuff. We've built it modularly as well so that we can support it from, standpoint of not having as much waste and the like. But good question.
Over here, last question.
Okay, last question.
Brian Hayashi, I did some work on home automation with PG&E, and so I have a lot of affinity for what you're doing. But the question I have is when you guys were talking about the business and talking about all the things that could happen, when did you start talking about like exit strategies and like pivoting and what would happen to the relationship when that stuff happened?
They were like our relationship, what would happen?
Yeah, well, like if you're talking about exit strategies, some people have different ideas on, well, what do you want out of it? Are you looking at like?
Yeah, I think ultimately an exit strategy probably is where we're going to go 5 years, 6 years down the line. Perhaps looking at a larger lighting or lighting control system company using something like iLumi. But honestly, our goal right now is to try and make an amazing product that folks are going to want. And if we're able to do that and create value in the company and create these really amazing experiences, then we're going to have a great customer base that's interacting with our lights on a daily basis. Certainly, we've put some time into our IP as well, so hopefully that's valuable down the line. And I think that's kind of, going back to that pirate ship analogy, there's definitely that kind of buried treasure somewhere off in the distance, and we're kind of guiding ourselves towards it, but really you got to focus on the tactical day-to-day and kind of what's next over the horizon in order to kind of move the ship that direction.
Great questions. Thank you guys so much for sharing your story. Let's hear it for them. Thanks for coming out.